for tuning in to another edition of Outside the Shop. Me, your host, Daryl D. Lane. As always, I want to thank you guys for all tuning in, whether it be via Facebook Live, Twitter/Periscope, or YouTube live stream. I appreciate all of y'all tuning in. And this is the show where I get to talk about everything that I normally don't get to talk about in my regular sports podcast. Shop Sports Talk, which you guys can on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Check on the description link below. It should go to the YouTube channel. The Bills, why they should be number one in any power ranking, and also are Justin Herbert and the Chargers a legit threat in the AFC. I think both are about 1 to 2 minute long. Little clips of audio from the podcast. Definitely check that out. And I think I'm going to be doing a solo pod, the Wednesday show. Not totally sure on that. We'll see. Game time decision tonight, but a solo pod, I think, is what we're looking at. And then but now the connection is back. So Ben Karen hosts the Sports Call, the podcast for Friday. We're going to do NFL college football predictions, talk about the Thursday night football game. So we're going to have all of that. So let's start with this. Jon Gruden. He is out in Las Vegas. It was a shocker. You're watching Monday Night Football versus Colts. Adam Schefter drops a huge bomb on the NFL world that I for sure wasn't expecting. Not in my wildest dreams could I have imagined that Jon Gruden would get fired. And it was apropos that it happened during Monday Night Football, a game that he called for numerous years on ESPN with Mike Tirico. So I think this is very interesting for many different reasons. And I want to get this up right here, right? So first, I want to give a PSA to everybody. Whether you think Jon should have been let go or not actually resign, but I think it was more of an ultimatum with Mark Davis, the Raiders owner, right? You either have to, I'm going to fire you, or you can walk away with some dignity. But no matter what you think of this situation, no matter what you think of the language Gruden used, here's what I'm going to say. PSA. When you work for a company, never, if you're going to use company email, always keep it G for fun. I had a teacher named Cadino. He always said, G for fun. Keep it G for fun if you're using a company email. Or if you're sending to a company email or a school email where the servers can be looked at by other people who you may not want to see. Always keep it G for fun. Keep it about business, things that are appropriate, not topless women, not also degrading the commissioner and the owners, or if we're going to compare this to the real world, your bosses, your co-workers, league policy, company policy. Try not to do that, because if your boss finds out you're talking crap, you know what's going to happen? Probably going to get let go. Maybe pay reduction. Probably going to get let go, though. It's usually not, oh, hey, it was a private email. It's, no, you're an ass. Goodbye. See you. Wouldn't want to be you. So that's the first thing I want to get off when we're talking about this. Now I want to get to this. So obviously what Gruden did, it's wrong. It's unacceptable. If you're talking crap about league policy, owners, commissioner, obviously he used homophobic language, using the FAG word to describe Roger Goodell and other people. You just can't do that. It's a word that maybe is too commonly used around heterosexual males, right? I can tell you, I've been in circles where you hear that word used, and it shouldn't be used at all, in my opinion. People can disagree with me on that. But I think the bigger issue, too, is with Gruden is not the only one who talks like that in the NFL. If you think Gruden's the only one who uses the F word, who uses homophobic slurs, excuse me. He's the only one who uses homophobic slurs, racial slurs, even talks about sexualizing women in the NFL in a heterosexual, masculine, testosterone-driven league. You are wrong. You are wrong. I guarantee you players talk like that. I guarantee you coaches talk like that. I guarantee you executives talk like that. Now, they're not stupid enough to put that on email and get wiretapped, right? Like, they're not that stupid, but that happens. This gets into the thing. People were not searching for Jon Gruden, what Jon was doing. People were searching for his investigation on the Washington football team into what Dan Snyder, the Washington owner, is doing. And Jon Gruden was collateral damage. And somebody tweeted this, and I thought that was interesting. If there's so many emails, thousands of emails, what was the Washington owner doing? Was Jon Gruden really a pawn? Was he a sacrificial pawn? So Daniel Snyder, an NFL owner, could get off the hook. And everybody's focused on canceling Gruden. Why? There's some more damning stuff going on someplace else. and he just had to be the fall guy, right? Gruden had to be the fall guy. Gruden was the village idiot who they ended up using to take the fall. I think that's what we could see going on, because we still don't know what were said in email with Daniel Snyder, and he was the one who the investigation was on. So I think that's a very interesting thing, because I think a lot of people when they hear this story, they're like, how are these emails even come about? Gruden's emails. Why would they be looking at Jon Gruden? They were not looking at Jon Gruden's emails. They were looking at the Washington football team as an organization, what was going on there, and Gruden was something else. Gruden just happened to be sending to a guy who worked there, right? So there are bigger issues at play that we could see go on as this all materializes, because I have to believe this is far, far from over. And then I want to get to this too. The truth on Gruden is, and I've heard players and people talk about this, Chris Sims, a guy who played for him with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. People said he's two-faced. I think Keyshawn Johnson also talked about this a little bit. He's two-faced. He's a guy who will pat you on the back, say, I love you, guy. And then the next moment, he's like, F that dude. So he talks out the side of his mouth. He doesn't keep it real, as my friend Ben Karen would say. Doesn't keep it real. So that leads to not a lot of people liking you. I don't think Jon Gruden was very well liked around the league, because somebody in the NFL leaked what Jon Gruden was saying to the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal. And I was thinking about, I was listening to Mike Florio. You think that journalists now, they're not just sitting there like, oh, let's uncover Jon Gruden. Like I was saying before, oh, we got to find out what Jon Gruden's doing. We're looking back at years of emails. How do we get access to these emails? No. People from the Wall Street Journal, people from the Washington Post just happened to search in the weeds for Gruden, what Gruden was doing. It was given to them. It was material given to them. Somebody had it out for Gruden, and somebody also, in my opinion, is protecting Daniel Snyder and some other damning and things that are going on in that Washington football team organization. And then lastly, Gruden, just again, I have to pile on Gruden a little bit. You can't be a leader if you're doing this. You have the racial stuff, a lot of black players on the team. You also have the homophobic slurs. First, openly gave NFL history on a roster as a starter on the defensive line for your team, right? And I guarantee you, Gruden's probably told them, like, I got your back, and no matter what people say. And then Gruden's talking like that. How can men follow you when you do that? Because now people can't trust you. How do you think that player feels? He's like, oh my God, I thought this dude was in my corner. And now that's what he thinks of me? That's what he talks? That's how he talks? The NFL, the most important thing when you are a coach, more important than being good at the X's and O's, more important than how you call offensive, defensive plays, how much you know management, it's how you relate to people. Can you get a group of men, a group of people to come together, buy into what you have to preach, and be successful? At the end of the day, how do you think Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots were successful for so long? You know, Belichick is, for lack of a better term, he's an ass. He's a jerk. Nobody likes Bill Belichick because people believed in what he was saying. Everybody do your job. Tom Brady fell in line. Everybody fell in line. That is how you work. That's how it works. Phil Jackson, the Zen master in basketball, right? People listen. You need people to listen. You need people to follow. And that all starts with trust. Any relationship, whether it be dating, whether it be family, whether it be friends, whether it be coworkers, it starts with trust. No trust, there is no respect. And if there is no respect, then what do you have? You have nothing. And that's all for the Jon Gruden stuff. Quickly now, I want to get into this. So Kyrie Irving, anti-vax, right? The Brooklyn Nets have decided to send him home. He will not be playing. I think this is kind of monumental. People have a lot of different opinions on this. No matter how you feel about the vaccine, I think this is the most important thing to remember at the end of the day. In New York City, the policies are if you're going to these public places, you have to have the vaccine. Kyrie decides not to. This is his right as a U.S. citizen, right? And since Kyrie's not going to do that, he can't play for home games. If you can't play for half the games on your team's schedule, then it's like, what good are you? You can't practice. You can't play. Messes up with the chemistry. How about you just go home and you can either decide, Kyrie, to get the vaccine, right? You have that choice. We can wait till New York City changes their COVID mandates because hopefully, New York City, the COVID mandates aren't going to be forever. Eventually, they will end. So we can wait till that ends, or you can get the vaccine. So there's three ways we can go about this, but the way we can't do it is you only play for home games. You don't play for home games. You play for away games, and you can't practice. And we just do this like it's cool. That cannot and will not happen. Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN reported that James Harden, Kevin Durant, Sean Marks, the Nets GM and the Nets owner, they all had a conversation with this. There was a meeting of the minds at the round table and talking about this. And this is what came out to be this. You can't do it. You can't have him come in. You cut his pay. Obviously, the NBA has already said that that's what they were going to do. You probably have to pay him for the away games he would have been playing, which is fine. I think Kyrie's not going to have an issue with that. But if Kyrie wants to be a service to this, get the vaccine right now, or they're going to have to trade him. And, people like Nick Wright have reported that if Kyrie is traded, he will retire. At this point, the Nets might have to just bite the bullet and try to get whatever they can for him, right? But they might just have to bite the bullet. You can't have it in your locker room. You just can't. You can't have it, right? At the end of the day, you have a job, you have a contractual obligation, and he cannot fulfill that contractual obligation because of a stance that he is deciding to take. And this is not the Nets' fault. They did not mandate New York City. It is not the NBA's fault. They did not mandate law in New York City. This is up with the board, legislators, and the people in government there, right? And they have made a decision. The Nets have to acquiesce to that, and that changes the rules of the workplace environment. That's just a fact of the matter. And lastly, Ben Simmons finally shows up in Philadelphia. You know, it's funny. Ben Simmons said he never played for the 76ers again until he found out he wasn't going to get a salary and that he was going to get so many fines that he thought, Philadelphia money. Think about that. He was going to get fined so much as a millionaire athlete that he was actually going to be in the red himself and owe the money. That's when Ben was like, I'm kind of mad about the Philly fans. I don't like how I'm being used. I think I could be more. I want to be in someplace else, but money's money. And at the end of the day, I'm a professional athlete because I want to collect the bag and, make more money, get generational wealth. I live in LA, a lot of taxes there, right? I'm dating the Kardashians. I'm living this lifestyle. Let's not hold up. Let's hold up. Joel, I'm sorry. Doc Rivers, I'm sorry. I think it'll be interesting to see how the chemistry works in Philadelphia. My gut feeling is Philadelphia still finds a way to trade him. What would be really crazy about this is if Philadelphia keeps him for the whole season and they just end up keeping Ben Simmons altogether, right? I think eventually with Morey and the Sixers brass, they are waiting for the perfect opportunity. They are waiting for Damian Lillard to get unhappy in Portland and request a trade. They're waiting for Bradley Beal to get unhappy. Maybe a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, who I think is somebody who's a hot with how not the Minnesota Timberwolves have been throughout his career, or maybe even Kyrie. Maybe Kyrie agrees to go to Philadelphia, I believe it's not that far from New York City where Kyrie's from, or New Jersey or whatever, right? Or something like that. They're waiting for something to happen where another team blinks first, they have their star one out, and then they can flip Ben Simmons for that star. Everything's fine. No harm, no foul. Like I said, going to have a solo pod tonight, probably. If not, I'm going to have a guest, and you'll have to wait to see who that guest is. Channel, share this, like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great day, everybody. God bless. And by the way, like I said, PSA, if you're on an email, don't say anything crazy. Keep it PG for fun, or G-rated for fun, Disney style.